I feel like self-forgiveness is very difficult as well. It's to forgive yourself. So one thing to forgive someone else, but then can you forgive yourself? And I would think that would figure into your science.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, we regularly work with people in self-forgiveness. And in fact, Saturday, we just published a new workbook, and our research of late has been on helping people recover from addictions, and we've been teaching forgiveness. And this new workbook, which was just published, the biggest difference is how much the need is for self-forgiveness in people in recovery. And it's now become more of a focus for us on how to help people like heal from their own mistakes and their own like insensitivities. And you asked me if I had struggled with
Hmm.
things. I can tell you another story from back in
Please.
the day when um, this is decades ago, a couple decades ago, and I was visiting in one of my wife's best friends, and you know, I spent an hour or so with them, and then I got bored, and I went off and started to read. Like just like I'm a professor type, but there it was. So I went off to read, and when I got back, my wife found me and said, Fred, that's kind of rude." And then I don't remember what it was, but somebody at work told me that, "Fred, like I know you're a decent guy, but your mouth doesn't always sound that way." And then somebody else said something along that way too, that I was harsh. And
Mm.
I really had to think this stuff through. I got those three feedback things that, without intending to, I was colder and more self absorbed than I would have liked. And it took me a while to kind of turn that ship around a little, and part of it was having to both be honest about my behavior, which is the first part of self-forgiveness. You
Right.
can't BS yourself and forgive yourself. You have to be flat out straightforward. I had to own my behavior first within myself. Then I kind of apologized to my wife, but then I also made a commitment to change.
Mm.
And those are the aspects of self-forgiveness that people don't understand. That it's not just feeling better about yourself, it's honestly looking your behavior in the eye, having remorse, apologizing or making amends, and then changing. It's a deep, difficult thing. It's not just like, oh, I don't like myself for a day, so I need to feel better. That's the most trivial part of it. What's really important is to look at your actions, decide that they're not really who you want to be, and make sure you limit that doesn't happen again going forward. That took me a while, but I made a commitment to being at least a less nasty, selfish person. And over time, it paid off. But turning that ship was not an easy thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I love this formula, like you just said. Recognizing, admitting it. And I think that, which again, it's just, I don't know, I just noticed the people who do our show are so mindful. The rest of us are so busy,
That's yes.
right? We're just so that we don't take these times to pause, become aware. Like you said, okay, what did I do wrong? And what am I doing wrong? And then realize what you could do to make the changes, apologize and the tone, and then commit to the changes. Um, there's so many, like I want to, I love some of your quotes, and I'd love you to, if I can throw some at you, and maybe you can try to re respond to them and expand on them. Resentment is a false sense of control.
When we have been hurt, or when we've lost something precious, or when people have treated us like crap, hostility, bitterness, resentment are absolutely necessary at the beginning to try to help us stay afloat. Otherwise, the ship gets sunk really easily. When you do that long term, it's a fake sense of control and power because you're not doing anything, you're not moving, you're not growing. What you're doing is using the tiny dopamine hit that you get from anger and resentment. You're using that as a palliative. So you feel better for half a second, but it accomplishes nothing, digs in a bad habit, and doesn't prepare you in any way to do better if it happens again. But it gives you that tiny, tiny piece of dopamine, and it gives you a fake sense that you're doing something when you're not doing something. So it's a seductive trap that, we have a culture awash in that. Let me just say one more thing that you mentioned about
Please.
distraction. Our internet cell phone culture is so much more distracted than we were even 20 years ago, that all the stuff you and I are talking about is harder for everyone, is literally harder for everyone.
Yes, yes.
We are anxious in ways that we can't imagine. I know for myself, people are changing dates, missing appointments, rushing
Mm-hmm.
around because they're overwhelmed and they can't keep track of all the information coming in, and everybody in their world is changing this, changing that. There's so much chaos that we're all dealing with, and we have that dopamine problem of relentless pulls on our attention. So we are all losing the capacity to get joy from normal life. And so everything we're talking about is harder because of just the omnivorous pulls at our attention.
It's funny because you see the ashes on my forehead. It was Ash Wednesday today, and just the period of Lent and Catholicism. And by the way, in the Orthodox as well, they're both lined up. I mean, they don't have an Ash Wednesday, but this is their season as well. The 90-something-year-old priest, he said this is a time to transform. This is what Lent is about, and he ended it with the phones. He was like, "You're so distracted with the phones today.
So,
Put
so
them down."
That's it. So distracted. And we don't, like what you said, I don't know, a half hour ago, like that ability to mindfully notice what's good right
Hmm.
in front of you. That's the beginning heart of how we teach forgiveness. Because one of the research findings is that the more grateful you are, the easier it is to forgive, because grateful people notice what's good. They go, thank you. So they have a built capacity to also deal with what's not so good. If you're a distracted mess who's not noticing what's good, then what's not good takes more and more time of your attention. Like, you notice so often then how somebody cuts you off, how somebody misses an appointment, how there's too many people on the freeway. Your nervous system is so much more open to aggravation.
Into seeing picking up the negative things rather than when you're in gratitude. You're seeing,
Exactly.
yeah, no, I know. Wow.
Hey, Heal Squad. We have been on quite the journey together, and we're hearing from so many of you just how much this show is helping you heal and get better, and it makes us feel so good. We love, love, love it, and we just ask that you don't keep it to yourself. Spread the message and share the show or your favorite episode with your friends. And if you want to help us even more, you can leave us a 5-star rating and a comment on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and follow us on Instagram at Heal Squad. You can also DM us anytime because we love connecting with you. And finally, you can also join us on Patreon for our monthly live heal events with world-class healers and ad-free episodes exclusive only to Patreon and our Super Heal Squad for as little as $10 a month. So go to patreon.com/Heal Squad to join. Getting better isn't easy, friends, but as I say all the time, it's a whole lot easier if we can do it together. We love you all so much, and we love doing this thing called life with you.
This podcast and all related content published or distributed by or on behalf of Maria Menounos or MariaMenounos.com is for informational purposes only and may include information that is general in nature and that is not specific to you. Any information or opinions expressed or contained herein are not intended to serve as or replace medical advice, nor to diagnose, prescribe, or treat any disease, condition, illness, or injury, and you should consult the healthcare professional of your choice regarding all matters concerning your health, including before beginning any exercise, weight loss, or healthcare program. If you have or suspect you may have a healthcare emergency, please contact a qualified healthcare professional for treatment. Any information or opinions provided by a guest expert or host featured within website or on company's podcast are their own, not those of Maria Menounos or the company. Accordingly, Maria Menounos and the company cannot be responsible for